Well, hello there, friends and family. Welcome back to my channel. My name's Renee, and I am so excited to be able to share with you today some of the things I've been doing over the past couple of weeks. So again, I have changed my channel name so that now I am showing you a lot of the different hobbies that I have. And so I'm really excited to be able to share what's been going on these past couple of weeks. I will say the first thing that is really exciting for me is that I am now on summer break. So I have gone off contract, as we say. So I think I mentioned in my last video that university professors, if you don't know it, they usually only teach for 9 months out of the year. And then we have the summers off. We don't get paid during the summer or anything if we're not teaching. And so, yeah, I have a bit of a break. I am teaching summer school this year, but generally I am what is called off contract. I am not obligated to check emails, to do any work or anything else. So yeah, I will of course still be doing stuff because like I said, I am teaching over the summer, but it is nice to be able to sleep in and not have to think about, oh, I need to go to work and do this and this and this. You know what vacation's like. I know you do. So anyway, I think what I'll do is start off with the post-crossing. I have had a really good 2 weeks of post-crossing, and so I'm going to share with you all of the postcards that I received, and then I'll go into some of my other hobbies and things that I've been doing, give you a couple of little updates and that kind of stuff. So I would say to you, get your cup of tea, your cup of coffee, an adult beverage, whatever floats your boat, and let's sit down together and let's go through my hobbies. I'm going to take a cup of, or drink of tea before we get going. Many of you have been longtime subscribers, might remember my friend Laura. She and I were out this morning doing some fun things, and she said, please go home and make your video as quickly as possible. So that's what I'm doing. All right, let's get started. I'm gonna start off, like I said, with post-crossing. And so let's start with the postcards. So the first postcards that I have for you are official postcards. And the first one comes from Judith in France. And so this is the postcard here. Of course, it is the little prince. So I love that. The next postcard comes from Switzerland, and one of my themes is that I love recycled packaging as postcards because it gives them a second life rather than that packaging going into a landfill. So this is this comes from Esty, and Esty says that this is one of her favorite Swiss chocolates. The next one comes from Martina, and Martina is in Poland and sends me this lovely card of from Budapest. This is the Parliament building in Budapest. Gorgeous, isn't it? Would love to visit there. The next card comes from Hans in Germany, who sent me a postcard of Hever Castle. This is located not too far from my favorite castle in England, which is Bodiam Castle. Love that. The next one comes from Gerard in the Netherlands, and I love royalty. And so this, of course, is the former Queen of the Netherlands, Queen Beatrice? No. Yeah, Beatrice. Sorry. All of a sudden there I thought, oh, wait a minute, am I wrong? Yeah. And then the last official postcard that I received came from Cindy. This is also recycled packaging. This is from a children's book. Love that. Look at that wonderful sea turtle. So those are all of the official postcards. And then what I have for you now are the round robin postcards. So we will start off with Charisse, who says to keep calm and save the planet. Trying my best, Shrees, trying my best. Lori sends me a postcard of the Japanese gardens in San Francisco. Beautiful. I love gardens. Ever since I've gotten older, birding and gardens. Who knew? The next card comes from Carol, and Carol sends me this wonderful maxi card. At first, it looks like it might be a coral reef, but these are actually freshwater. I'll bring it a little bit closer for you. This is like a lake and the fauna and flora there. So it's a maxi card. The next one comes from Karen, and Karen sent me a fun card about sabbatical. So my challenge this month, the word was break, and a sabbatical is a break from having to work. So I love that. Haven's in the background, that's her shaking her head. Jessie sends me the next card, and it is Charlie's Angels, the first original 3. Love it. Joseph sends the next card. It is the corner, standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona. I've had that song stuck in my head all day now. James sends the next card, and these are, let me do this. These are echinoderms. Sorry, you could see my address through there. Brenda sends the next card, and it is a wonderful coral reef in Belize. I don't know if I mentioned it, but the coral reefs in the Bahamas were just devastated this year when I took my students. It was so sad to see. I'm really hoping that they recover. Terry sends the next card and reminds me, if you have a garden and a library, you have everything you need. I agree. I have both. Craig sends the next card, and this is a town in France, La Rochelle, La Rochelle, and it is where they are moving to. They're moving out of the United States. They used to live in this area, so they're kind of going home, if you will. Leslie sends the next card, and this was also for my break theme, where the alligator is breaking out of the jail. James sends the next one, and look at that fish. So this is a hawkfish. Gorgeous colors. Michelle sends the next card, and she said that breaks remind her of vacations, and this is in Japan, where she just went on vacation not too long ago. Another Renee in the Round Robin sends this postcard, again for break. She says this looks like a lovely outdoor cafe in France where you could take a nice coffee break. I agree. Moon sends the next card. Have a panic attack. You've earned it. I'll tell you what, getting grades in, that was one of those moments. You're like, oh my gosh, because we have deadlines, of course, to get our grades in. So, the next card comes from Danielle, and she said that waves breaking for my break challenge. I love that. Susan sends the next card, and she says that this one is just really whimsical. It is sheeps having a party. Sheep, not sheeps. Joanne sends the next card for the break challenge. This is Little Arch in Arches National Park, and she hopes that this arch never breaks. Sadly, through time, it will eventually. Rocks break. Gorgeous though. I've been to Delicate Arch. Lovely, lovely. Kai sends the next card, and this is Fiona the hippo, very famous in Cincinnati at the zoo. Joanne sends the next card, and this is a bunch of crinoids, also belonging to the group that I study. Lauren sends the next card, and it is recycled food packaging, and it is Kerrygold butter. Love it. You can see parts of my office in here. That's my washi tape storage there in the reflection. Lawrence sends the next card, and look at this sweet pup here. Oh, love that, so colorful. And then the last one for the round robin group comes from Mark, and this is optical illusions, so you can see what you see there. But then if I turn it upside down, now you see two different things. So things are not always what they seem. So those are cards in the round robin, and I did receive a few different direct swaps. Could not think of the word there. So, all right, so the first one that I received came from Rob, that dad guy. His channel is linked down below. Please do go see him. He's trying to be very positive, and he sent me a "You Are Awesome" postcard. And then on the back, I just had to laugh. Look at that sticker. Oh my goodness, Rob, you are too funny. But yes, us outdoorsy type, we do tend to pee outside. I don't do it unless I'm working in the field. Chloe sends me the next postcard, and she had gone to a fundraiser for lifeboats in her local town. And so this was a postcard that she picked up. I love it. The next card comes from Olia, and let me just tell you about this card. Olia sent this card for World Postcard Day back on August 29th, 2025, and it just arrived this week. This is her dog, Bart. So I'm so happy to finally receive it. She asked me a couple of times, did you get my card yet? And then I hadn't. But then again, remember in my last video, I received a card that had been mailed 3 years prior. So thank you, Olia. And Haven sends her love to Bart. The next two cards came from Blue in France. Blue goes to a lot of meetups, and so this is the first one. I love this artwork with the lavender fields. Oh, just gorgeous. And then this next card looks like a fun outing for girls. I love it. And then the last card comes from one of my pen pals, Marissa, who was just in Taiwan visiting her son, and Marissa is in Germany. So I need to write a couple of postcards back to some of my direct swaps. So that is everything that I received this past 2 weeks for Postcrossing. So now what I think I'll do is switch you into cross stitch. So, cross stitch. Boy, have I got some stuff to share with you. It has been a couple of busy weeks. So, the last time that we were here, I think I told you that I was working on this biscornu, that it has unicorns in it, and I just thought it was really fitting since I'm a part of the unicorn gang, right? So, this unicorn biscornu. Anyway, I finished it. And not only did I finish it, but I fully finished it. So it's kind of like a little pillow, right? And what you do, let me show you the pattern first. So look at these gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous unicorns. So everything on the top, they are all exactly the same. And then on the bottom, you have these lovely flowers with the crystal, the faceted crystal that goes all around. And so these are 2 squares that you offset and then you sew around the offset and join them all together. And then the final step is to put a button through the top and through the bottom, after you stuff it and finish sewing it up. And so this is my very first biscornu. I'm so excited. I literally cannot believe I actually did it. First off, let me just tell you. But I think it came out just really lovely. And I'm sure it's not picking it up, but there is an iridescent thread that runs through the background fabric on here. Maybe you could see it on this side. But anyway, so I am just tickled pink with this biscornu. And again, how fitting, since I'm a member of the Unicorn Gang. So that is the first thing that I worked on. The second thing that I worked on is in my project bag, and this is something, and I forgot to open up the zipper, but hopefully that was quiet for you, is that I am working on Banner of Benevolence. And so with Banner of Benevolence, this is through Silver Creek Samplers. There it is right there. And when we last met, I had just started working on this section here with the words in blue. And so now I have this much done. So I got all the blue done, some of the stars, and started on the red. This, by the way, is on Fiber on a Whim, 28 count Lugana in the color Cornflower. And I am stitching it 2/2 for those of you who are interested. And I am hoping to make some more progress on this over the next 2 weeks. This is one of my patriotic finishes, or patriotic stitches that I am working on. So I had time to be able to work on that this week. But then last night I started at the Spring Mingle that is run by Lindy Stitches. It is an online retreat. And on this 28 count Lugana for Banner of Benevolence, when it gets darker, it's hard for me sometimes to see the holes. And so I decided I wanted to start something a little bit new. And so I actually pulled out a pattern that I had just purchased from, both of these are just from Market. And so this is called Glow Below. And it is an anglerfish in the deep sea. And what it uses is there are 4 threads, and there were several cross-stitch designers who all had these 4 threads to work with. They're cottage garden threads. The first one is called Sea Change. So cottage garden threads, Citrus, Sizzler, and then Mariana. And so those are the 4 colors that all of these designers were working with. So I decided to start this one. I purchased 2 of the different patterns. This one and, a Dumbo Octopus, but I have not started that one yet. And so it's a very pitiful start, but it's a start nonetheless. And so this is where I started last night. Let me put something behind it. And so this is going to be the jellyfish here coming down, but this is basically, this color is the glow. So coming back to this, so I'm doing like right here in this area. So that is a new start as of last night, and I am enjoying that so far. The Spring Mingle retreat is still going on, and so I'm going to continue on that this evening. I'm going to work for a little bit today on Banner of Benevolence, and then I will come back to Glow Below and continue working on that. So that is cross stitch that I have done, but I'm going to tell you that I discovered on Facebook a group where they de-stash old patterns that they just don't use anymore, that people want to get rid of, you know, that kind of stuff. And there has been this set of patterns that I have wanted for a very long time. I like things that are cute and stuff like that. So anyway, there was a gentleman who was selling these 5 patterns, and I wanted them. And they were like half the price of what they are online. And so anyway, it's the Chicken Club. So I purchased Cornelius. I just love him. He's sassy. I purchased Florence. I purchased Hattie. I purchased Beatrice. And then the last one that I purchased was Prudence. So I'm going to put these in my little bit of a stash and maybe get going on these within the next couple of weeks. I try to work on one thing at a time, but you know, I've been sneaking in and doing 2 things at a time lately because Banner of Benevolence is on that very fine count, and so it gets tough on my eyes sometimes. So this gives me a good opportunity to switch it up a little bit. So yeah, so that is all of the cross stitch that I've been doing. So now I think what I will switch into is sewing. So with my sewing, I have been very active in sewing as well. As I mentioned earlier, this project bag with the all of the patches from different missions through NASA, I made this project bag, and just as much as stitching, I have come to love making project bags. So I made 2 project bags this past week. Last time we were together in my last video, I showed you some fabric that I bought and I made the project bag. So this was the fabric. It was the fish that were all swimming, and that is the front and the back of the bag. And then when you open up the bag, inside I have the fabric that has bubbles. So that's that. And the tag that I have on here, notice that it is a sea turtle. So this comes from the Bahamas, San Salvador, Bahamas National Parks, established 2015. So when you purchase one of these tags, the money goes to the national park. And so how could I not? As much as I love the Bahamas, how could I not buy that? So that's what that tag is. So that's the first project bag that I made. But then I thought to myself, you know, Renee, you don't really have very much that is patriotic. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna go out to the fabric store and I'm gonna pick up some fabrics and everything, and I'm gonna make a patriotic bag. I didn't need to do that. You know why? Because if you take a look back at this, I have stars. And then I had made another bag that I shared with you last week that had a crab on it that was stripes, and I had leftovers from both. So look at my new project bag. It's the flag, stars and stripes. And on the back, I had enough fabric to be able to put a bunch of stars. And then I made this little zipper pull that says, that's upside down for you. It says USA. So let me see if I do it that direction. USA with a little star on the end. So that's my little bag pull. And on the inside of this bag, I did not have enough fabric to do either one of these, the stars or the stripes. So I just did a plain red on the inside. But now I have a patriotic bag, and I'm going to put Banner of Benevolence inside this project bag. So I'm really happy with that. And like I said, I'm addicted to making these project bags just as much as I am in cross stitching. Like, I love pulling out my sewing machine and everything. So let me spin my little thing here. Jilly from Jilly B Living Her Life Her Way, several months ago, it's probably been 6 months ago, she sent me this adorable elephant keychain that I turned into a tag. Okay, put a big old lobster clasp on there. And so yesterday I was out shopping. I was looking for a very specific fabric that I could not find. I saw this thing online. I loved it, and I would show it to you, but it's on my phone and I'm recording on my phone. But anyway, I didn't find it, but I found something that was equally adorable. All right, so elephant, look at my new elephant fabric. Isn't it adorable? Oh my gosh. So I'm going to make this on the outside, and then this is going to be the tag that hangs off of it. And then for the inside of the bag, I got this really nice pink fabric that has a dark pink line with hearts running through it. So I purchased enough of that for the inside. And then the other thing that I have seen is that people, like right here along this edge where I've got the zipper and everything, they're still putting in the zipper, but then they add a little bit of lace. So I just bought a bit of lace to be able to put there as well on the outside of this bag. So over the next few days, or this next 2 weeks, I should say, I'm going to try and put this new bag together. I'm very excited about it, but I just thought, you know, this combination is just absolutely adorable. I had to do it. I had to do it. These bags, if you buy them online, tend to go for about $25 or $30. It cost me about $5 to make my own bags. So I put together a whole bunch of bobbins and everything, and I've got all of the supplies. I've had them for a long time. I've had lots of zippers for a really long time and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited. So that's the new bag that I'm going to make. Hopefully by the next time I see you, again in about 2 weeks, that I will have that bag made. So wish me luck on that. So that is all of the sewing that I have done. So I think next what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you in and tell you about books. So for the books that I have, the last time we were together, I told you that I was reading The World is Blue, How Our Fate and the Oceans Are One, and this is by a famous marine biologist, Sylvia Earle. So I told you that I wanted to finish this book, and I did finish this book. I'm so excited. It was a wonderful book. I'm going to pass it on tomorrow. One of my former colleagues from where I teach is a biologist, and he is coming into town tomorrow. And so I'm going to go out and have breakfast with him. And so anyway, I'm going to pass this on. He is just as passionate about the ocean as I am. In fact, one year he even taught the Bahamas class with me. So I'm going to pass us on. It was written back in 2010, I think it was. Let me see here real quick. Yeah, 2010 is the first paperback printing. And so anyway, everything that she talks about in this book, climate change, you know, overfishing, chemicals and pollutants going into the ocean, the great big garbage patch, you know, in the Pacific. And she talks about all of these things in this book, and we're still dealing with it today. So Sylvia Earle was actually such an influential marine biologist that she actually has a United States stamp. So if you are at all sciencey and, you know, but this is written on a level that anybody could understand. But if you have, you know, a love for the ocean, you might check out this book. I really enjoyed it. The other book that I finished is, I talked about it, but it's on my Kindle, and it is called Packing for Mars by Mary Roach, and I finished that book as well. I think one of the funniest chapters in that book, and by the way, that is a nonfiction book as well, but one of the funniest chapters in that book was when they were talking about how astronauts use the bathroom. And we here on Earth have gravity that helps us, but in space you don't have that gravity. And so it was just talking about some of the extraordinary things that astronauts have to do when they're using the restroom. So I will leave it to your imagination, or pick up the book. Mary Roach is the author, Packing for Mars. And then the book that I just started the other day, I have one going on my Kindle and I can't remember what it's called. It's pretty good so far though. I'll remember for next time. But then the other thing that I started reading in a paperback is called Enchanted August. Now I am on chapter 6 here in the book, so not very far into the book, but I'm enjoying it so far. Basically, it's an island where 4 people get together, and it says, Lottie and Rose are never strangers, but they're both in the same boat. If they don't get away from their regular lives, kids, schools, failed ambitions, they will implode. So the 2 answer the rental ad and head out of town for a restorative month away. So this is pretty good so far. I am really enjoying it. I'll let you know the next time we get together. I should be done with it by then. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you visiting and spending time with me. It's always so much fun to catch up a little bit. I was listening to a group earlier today that was talking about how here in the world, we're living in an age where even though we're connected through social media and, you know, things like that, that we are dealing with a lot of loneliness. And so I think that, you know, these videos that we make and everything help us to bridge that loneliness. And so I hope that, you know, you got a little something out of this, but also that you felt like it was just me and you, 2 friends sitting here talking with each other and having a good time. I wish we could be together in person. So, well, until I see you again in about 2 weeks, please stay safe and healthy. And please don't forget to get vaccinated. Vaccines save lives. Okay, I'll see you again in about 2 weeks. Bye.